Yo, what's up, family? Hope all is well out there. It's your boy, Yaahn Hunter Jr., and you already know what it is. We are breaking down my song Feeling Good from my latest beat tape, Chill Tape, Volume 1. It's now available on all streaming platforms, and you guys know how we do it here at the YouTube family. We go ahead and we share the value. So we're going to be doing a breakdown of this bad boy. So, hey, sit tight. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button at your leisure. If you get some value out of any of these tutorials here on the channel, go ahead and hit that, smash that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on those bell notifications, and let's dig in.
That's Hunter.
Sweet. So, this basically started from the progression, and this progression just got inspired just from fooling around on the keys. I'm a keys player, so I'll walk you guys through this first. So this is the key stuff. So the first question that I've been getting a lot is the chord progression. So I'm gonna do my best to explain this chord progression. So this is basically a E minor 9. Then we're gonna do you can do F sharp major over A flat. And sorry for the accidentals. And then we're gonna go to a sus. We're gonna do a G major 7 over A. And then we have like this weird augmented chord. And so I want to say this is probably a C augmented. But the notes are C, E, B flat, D, and F sharp. But without the C, so you just have the E, B flat, D, and F sharp. And then we have our B minor 9. And then I put an 11 on there. So we have then that's the chord. So I wanted to get that out the air. Those are the official chords. So let's get into the tech stuff about these chords and kind of start and just work our way a little backwards. So I used Keyscape on this, and the patch that I'm using is the Wing Upright Dark Indie. And this is a really fun patch. I actually used a different patch before, but this one just spoke to me a little bit more. Cool. So I left everything pretty much, at the factory settings here. I didn't do much there, but that's the patch that I'm using. So for the people who wanted to know, it's Keyscape Wing Upright Dark Indie. And you can just pull up the patch and get the same sound that I have. But I did do some EQ on this. So what I have on the EQ, we gotta talk about the color first. Retro color is what's making this sound like an older beat up piano. So that's clean. And then let's dirty it up with RC20. So again, this is a lo-fi tape. It's a chill tape. So, for that sound, you just want to muddy it up a little bit. And, that's just the heart of lo-fi. And I'm a true, hip hop lo-fi fan. So RC20 will help you guys out a lot for achieving a lo-fi sound. It's really dope. They have other stuff out there, but I recommend this one just because it's so easy to use. So that's what's going on the piano. The next thing I did was on the mix side, I basically rolled off the low end that I did not need. And this is the Pro Q3, and I have the link in the description for all this stuff, for the Pro Q and the Keyscape and stuff like that. I got links in the description for you guys. I basically did a dynamic. I made this EQ up here more dynamic to cut through the mix since it's just an instrumental. I don't got to worry about no vocals, so the music can kind of have its way. So if you hit this arrow, you can choose to make dynamic. So of course it's going to say disable because I already made it dynamic. And then it's basically compressing it as well as giving it some excitement. So it sounds like the piano is right in front of your face. So that's what's going on with the keys there. Might as well continue on with the key stuff. The next thing I have is a Rhodes. And so on this Rhodes, I'm using the Scarby Mark 1, and I put some panning on. I turned the amp on. Looks like, yeah, I did. And I turned the treble up quite a bit, actually. And then I turned the bass down a little bit, and that's giving us this sound. And then same gag, I used RC20. This has a lot of noise in it. You can put the vinyl tape hiss in there. It's got a wobble on it, just making it sound old and dirty. So with it off. And you're hearing a little bit of hiss because I turned the treble up on the amp. So that's kind of giving us the starter kit version of it. And then after that, I put RC20, and then that's just like the icing on the cake. So real sweet sounding. Real super sweet sounding. So once again, this is the Scarby in Contact. So if you have the Contact player, go ahead and get Scarby keys. And I got a link in the description for Complete 13 if you just want the whole bundle to get everything. So that's what's going on with the Rhodes. Let's do some. Let's do the bass next, and then we'll kind of go a little backwards. Then we'll get into the drums, and then we'll do the aux. So the bass. I've been getting a lot of questions about this bass patch. This bass patch is in Splice. I'll have the link in the description for this post this video. So if you guys are watching live, it's not in there yet. But if you're watching the replay, this bass patch will be in the description. This is from Splice. It's the JD bass. And it's just the one note. And I brought it into the Logic sampler. Tuned it to where it's all at concert C on the piano. And that's where we're getting this bass from. Real smooth. So yeah, the JD bass. I've been using this a heck of a lot. So next, my favorite part, the drums. Cool. So the drum kit is my vintage crate kit. So I have to link in the description for you guys for that. My vintage crate kits will literally take you wherever you need to go. So we can start on what's on the drums. So we can start with the kick. So on the kick, I just have some EQ, Infinity EQ. And I just got rid of the low end and turned up some of the areas where the beater is. So it's just giving us that clarity. And again, like for instrumentals and for this type of music, lo-fi, like there are some kicks that you want to have some, crazy low end on. But yeah, you can definitely do that. But for this kick on my vintage crate kit, I didn't want all this low end. I wanted it to be a lot tighter. So I rolled it off. And I turned up where this beater is. So if we just put the headphones on, so you can hear where that beater is sticking out. And then same with this one. Let's do this one. Let's solo this band. Here we go. So that's where the air is, and that's giving us this round sound. So if we turn it off, it just sounds bland. Put it on, you just get a lot of excitement. Real crazy. So that's all that's on the kick on this. Next we have the rim, and I just did a roll off on the rim. Bypassed all these because I didn't like how I was trying to build a more compressed rim shot, but I didn't like it, so I just ended up sticking with the Pro Q3. So I just rolled off all the unnecessary low end, and then bumped up some of this 2K, and then just rolled off the unnecessary stuff. So that's all we got on there. Then the hi-hats is nothing crazy, just a roll off on the stock EQ. So, and then we just have a cymbal. This is not a part of the vintage crate kits. This is from Splice. This OS TD cold cymbal. Yeah, this is definitely from Splice. This. So that's a really good cymbal. So where the magic is happening is the actual drum bus. This is where all the magic is. So on the drum bus, I'll do these plugins one by one. So I started with the Ssl Compressor, and this is giving us a heck of a lot of compression. And this is the Ssl Comp. This is in the Mercury bundle, or you can buy this individual plugin if you want, but I have the link in the description for the Mercury bundle if you want to get the whole thing, and this is included in that. So this is just giving us some nice compression out the gate. Turn it off. So there's no movement. So I'm using this compressor for some movement. So every time you hear that kick come in, it kind of cancels out everything. That's like a real standard hip hop sound. I really like that a lot. I kind of got that concept from your J Dillas and stuff like that. I like how they used compression, almost like side chaining. So after that, we have Saturn, and this is just giving me some color on the drums. I got the link in the description for Saturn if you guys are interested in saturating your drums. So this is with it off. Here's with it on. So it's just adding some nice girth and color on the drum. So I use the warm tape setting. Really dope setting. And then I just blended the mix at about 70%, turned the drive up to about 20%. It's just giving me a nice warm sound. It's just taking away that digital Logic vibe and making it sound more like a record. So I like this for saturation. So after the Saturn, then I use the Inflator, which is a really dope saturation plugin. This is giving me just more energy. So it's just it's just making everything sound nice and glued together as one unit, and this is adding some energy on the top end with this effect knob. Put it on. So this is very subtle, and you can use this extremely if you want it. You know, if you want to turn the drive up more. You know, to get more of an aggressive sound, you can, but I just wanted it to use this real subtle, so just a hair of it. And then this is just giving me a little sheen on the top, and this is giving me a little body on the curve. So this is a really dope plugin for, again, saturation. So then last on the drum bus, I put a limiter on the drums to just tame the transients. It's not smashing it. Okay, maybe it is smashing it for this song. I did go for a more grittier sound. It is hip hop. So I kind of smashed the drums down a little bit, and then I also turned the ceiling down. So it's giving us this nice smash sound and contained where it's not going to clip in the master output. And the drums are hitting at about minus 8.7 dB. So gain stage. I get a lot of questions about gain stage. So yeah. So I'm going to come back and do a massive round of answering questions. So keep the questions coming in the chat, and then I'm going to do a massive wind down of explaining everything. So keep the questions coming. I see you guys coming in, and we're going to keep going for the tutorial. We're doing this for the sake of the replay viewers, so they can get they can just go straight through the tutorial, then they can go to the questions at their leisure. So keep the questions coming, fam. So that's what's on the master drum bus. And that's giving us this sound. Let's turn everything off. So it's a little bland. Now put everything back on. Consistent energy, especially from that hi-hat and the rim. Like this, just the even the background hiss noise is starting to come up and makes it sound more lo-fi. So that's the deal with the drums. And let's kind of vibe out for a second. So that's the vibe. That's what's giving us all that. So I did go in and I added some stuff later. So this is definitely from my Instagram video, and wanted to go in and kind of add some other things that maybe everyone didn't hear from the Instagram video. So I expanded a little bit. I added some strings tucked in the back. So these strings are coming from Omnisphere, the Unclean Machine Sonic Extension. Unclean Sonic Extension. This is strings of the 70s. And this is giving us this old school string sound. Now, there is no RC20 or anything on this patch. This patch sounds like this natively. So listen to it once again. I'll turn it up. All right, that's the patch. The patch itself has all this old school color and wax and tape hiss all on it. And you can customize it and mix how much you want of it. So shout out to Spectrasonics for doing such an excellent job with the strings patch and just the whole Unclean Machine extensions here. Unclean Machine, and then you get all these patches, and then boom, here's the strings of the 70s. And as you guys can hear, these strings cut, so I had to turn it down in the mix. And so I just have the Pro EQ on this just to get rid of the excessive low end, so I can have all this space for that lovely JD bass. So that's the strings patch. And then last but not least, from the arrangement side of things, we have the choir. And this is the choir that's also in Omnisphere. And this is the gospel choir hymns. And if for my members and my current subscribers, y'all know I wear this patch out. So this is tucked behind the Rhodes just to give it a little dimension. I kind of like blending the old school with the new school, and I'll keep it short. But I like the old school vibe of the old school Rhodes, and I like the new school vibes of having a nice stereo gospel pad or gospel choir pad that blends old school and new school together sonically, instead of it just being like a raw old school hip hop tape. And that's all that I'll say about that. If you want to know more, you can join the channel for $9.99 a month, and I can ramble and rant and give you all of the gems unfiltered. So this one I did do a little tweaking on this patch. I did tweak the release. I turned the release up on this because I needed the patch to ring out longer than what it was doing. So I turned the release up, and that's giving me a nice sound. So you hear it ringing out. So again, it's just giving us that tail end. So in the track, it sounds similar, but something, you could tell something is happening in the back, and that's the gospel choir. So sleek trick for you guys. All I did was I option dragged the Rhodes. If you hit option and click and you hold, you can actually drag down a duplicate version of the previous track. So I just copied and pasted the Rhodes onto the patch track, and it's doing the same thing. So that'll save you from having to track stuff over and over again. If you got the chords right, you got a nice vibe, then you can just copy and paste it. So that's what's going on with the arrangement side and the individual plugins. I did put a little Pro Q on the bass just to roll off unnecessary lows, because again, I don't need 24 hertz out of a key bass patch, and the key bass patch is moving kind of fast. You know what I mean? So I wanted it to sound, staccato and nice and, stabby. So last but not least, guys, let's get into the mastering, and then we're going to go into the Q&A segment. So what did I use on my master bus? The first thing I did was EQ. So I rolled off up to 43 hertz. Again, for this type of track, I don't want it to sound boomy and woofy. I want it to sound tight. So I just rolled off up to 43 hertz or so. That's what's going on there. So that's giving us a nice clean start out. Okay, so then after that, I went into the Ssl Comp, and I'm smashing this compressor. Every time that kick comes in, it's like it's canceling out everything else, giving us that nice side chain compression sound. And you can do that with this ratio. You can screenshot this ratio if you want. You can copy it for your own leisure. But this is my setting to get that sound. Now, this is also predicated on the volume, the input coming into it. So keep that in mind. But that's my setting. Attack time, 1 millisecond. We got this set to 6 seconds on the release. And then we also have the ratio set to 4:1. So yeah, you guys can copy this setting if you want. So that's the compression. Then after that, I warmed it up. I used some warm tape, and that's giving us a nice vibe. So it's picking up a lot of the kick drum. It's picking up a lot of that low end, starting to warm it back up, because again, we took a lot out. So this is just giving us a more warm sound. I'm hitting you guys with a new plugin today. This is the Pro MB by FabFilter, and this is giving us multi-band compression. Now, it's good to have multi-band in some of the mids and some of the, low mids and some of the highs, because for this type of track, that's where all the action is happening. So I basically did some multi-band compression here, and that's giving us this sound. Turn it off. Turn it back on. And so the thing is with mastering is, you know, you want to be subtle. You want to be extremely subtle. So I'm only doing about, you know, 0.6 dB here and like, you know, 0.9 dB here. So not even a full dB. Just nice subtle moves will take you a long way for mastering. Next, we have the Oxford Inflator, and I am smashing this to Kingdom Come. So I'm using this for a sound. I'm just bringing a ton of energy into this. And again, I'm getting rid of that digital Logic vibe and getting into like, man, this feels like a record. Like this feels like something, you know, it just takes you out of that digital world. So I'm using this and I'm literally creating a whole new sound. But I did compensate for it by turning the output down almost about 2.5 dB. You can see on the output, we're still good. And what I love about this Sonics Inflator is you can turn the drive up. So drive the input, then turn the output down. This is like an emulation of outboard gear. So that's really fire. All right, then last but not least, we have Ozone. So I'm doing a little work in here as well. So we have some EQ going on here. So I'm exciting the areas of where I know the pianos and the Rhodes are going to sit, which is around this 2K. So that's where all the action is happening on that high end. So when you're listening to this on, you know, in the car and you have it real low, you'll still be able to hear the piano, the pad, and the Rhodes at a very low volume because of this band. So we just got a little roll off over there. I did some dynamic EQing. And this is for basically finding frequencies that rub against each other that just don't sound good together. So for example, this one right here. It's just a lot happening right there. So I just did some dynamic EQ. So it's basically turning it down, but also putting like a light form of compression on it to keep it in check as I'm ducking it down. Again, subtle moves, just 1 dB, 0.6 dB here, and so on and so forth. So then I have an imager on the master as well. So everything from 100 hertz and down, or 105 and down, I got all that going straight down the middle. So if you turn this knob up, that means it's spreading it. You turn it down, that means you're getting more of a mono sound, direct mono. You could tell by these icons with the circles. So I just picked my bands and found some sweet spots. Then one of my favorites about this is the vintage limiter. I like the way this limiter sounds. It just adds a nice tube kind of vibe to it. And then the maximizer. And so I have it minus 1 dB on the ceiling for streaming purposes to make sure that I'm not clipping in the digital realm of things. So say if we put it at 0. Okay, we're fine on our side, but on the streaming side, there's the digital conversion that happens. And so you want to make sure that you're going out at least anywhere from 0.5 to 1 dB on the digital conversion side to make sure that you're not clipping. So a lot of people, they go out hot and then they wonder why it sounds distorted in Spotify and Apple Music. Is because of that output ceiling for the digital conversion. So just keep that in mind. And guys, that's literally the whole situation. So let's do a before and after on the master bus. Here it comes after. Watch your ears because it's going to get loud. So that's pretty much the session. That's pretty much the whole session. Not If you guys got some value out of this video, feel free to give your boy a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and turn on those bell notifications. And if you like these vibes, my Chill Tape Volume 1, I got the link in the description for you. And if you made it to the end of this video, I also have some really dope free sound packs available in the description of this video as well. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
That's 100.